Hello everyone and welcome to the Eternal Spoiler Breakdown. I'm a Myriad and today we are going to be looking at the new mini set that's coming out. There's a couple of new cards that we're going to be reviewing and yeah, we have a 24 new card set coming out Wednesday, August 17th. So we're going to review that article and talk a little bit about each of the cards that has been shown off. So first things first, this one takes place in the Praxis Arcanum, which is the sort of like desert city of learning, basically a large institution dedicated to magery and knowledge and all sorts of interesting things, run by Talir, the Archmage of the Praxis Arcanum. We see a lot of useful time cards come out from that particular area. It's set in like the Argenport era and all of that sort of like dimensional stuff. And this is actually like one of my favorite sections of lore and general like sort of areas that I really wanted to see explored. So I'm very, very excited about this set because we're going to be seeing a lot of nerdy mages doing lots of nerdy things. And the first of those nerdy mages, of course, is Talir. So we've got Talir Headmistress, a 6-cost 6/6 with charge, +2 maximum power just on play, and also double time influence, well, yeah, and as well as the ability when she hits the enemy player, replenish your power. And this is, of course, a Scion. She's one of the 5, and this is a new version of her. It's not the first Talir with charge, notably. There is a previous version of Talir that also had charge and disappeared at the end of turn, but this one has, I think, a significantly more useful ability who replenishes your power when she hits. So, this is super cool on a number of different levels, and I actually think this card is bonkers strong based on like what we are just seeing off of it right away. First things first, it's a 6/6 charge per 6, which is really not a bad stat line for something that you're seeing that's going to be pretty aggressive and reasonably likely to hit the opponent's face if you attack with it on a surprise turn. If you do that, not only do you get the +2 maximum power, but because you replenish your power when Talir hits the enemy player, you can actually go right back up to 8 from 6 on the turn that she is played, which is disgusting if you're looking for a power turn to play very big, scary units. I think this card could actually be kind of out of control, depending on what types of stuff we're putting it in. The power level of it could actually be really, really high up there, because think about it in like Throne. If you play it in Throne, you're doing something like a Power Storm or Initiative of the Sand, an Eternity Core, and then plopping Talir Headmistress down, going in for the hit, getting yourself back up to 8 power, plopping another bomb down, often a combo card or a finisher or some kind of like ridiculous nonsense that can actually help you out even further. And there's a lot of other cool options there, of course, like if you can repeat the attack with any of your big spells, if you have like the ability to give the card Berserk or do anything like really, really wild with that kind of stuff. Multiple attacks are the big thing that'll help, but also additional turns are fairly common. There is a 10-cost take an extra turn after this one that has Unleash in the current set, and there are a couple of other options in time that are actually repeatable. So Talir can often repeatedly replenish your power over the course of the game, allowing you to get a lot of tempo and a lot of other gas out really, really fast. I think overall this card might actually be very, very powerful. My suspicion is that it is an S tier card, that it is just going to be one of the premier cards of the time set and should actually do an incredible amount of work. Obviously, all of that depends on whether or not you are actually able to hit with Talir Headmistress, or whether or not the card is removed through fast removal, blocked with chumpers, or in any way prevented from actually getting you the bonus. If it's killed immediately, or if it's killed before the maximum power comes into play, if it doesn't get the replenishment, then oftentimes it won't be quite nearly as beneficial. Obviously, the card does lose tempo to anything that's like small, fast removal, but the ability to just play this on any turn when your opponent has tapped out is really, really strong, and you can combine it with other effects to basically just get into situations that you are just really, really doing very well. A common example that I can think of in Expedition is that Tools of Oppression is a simple way to stun a blocker that does not require power. So if you have a Tools of Oppression out, you can discard something to stun your opponent's blocker, then open up Talir Headmistress in that kind of particular setup without actually adding anything to her cost. So you actually just get to like play it on 6 the turn that you want to. That kind of stuff is just like really, really big setup, really, really big payoff. And of course, it allows you to play into like big time cards. I don't think that we have seen a lot of time decks that are really focusing on playing anything in the 8 cost range, but this really opens that up a lot more. You can actually start playing the 8 drops and the 10 drops and the other bigger drops, as opposed to trying to like top out at 5 for Krogar, Burdened Hero, or something along those lines. This looks like an amazing expedition card. I'm really excited for this one, and it's a pretty solid implementation of Talir. I think it's pretty awesome. Yeah, no, this is a great card. So super, super exciting. But there's actually more exciting stuff in here. So we have, like, of course, the review. The Legendary Bundle does come with, like, a bunch of different stuff. You get extra cards. You get free draft things. If you buy it on the Eternal Store, you'll get, I believe, extra draft things. That is pretty common. There's a really, really nice card back, and of course a Talir avatar. I don't actually like the art on this Talir, so that's not a particular draw for me, but it'll have a unique emote and everything along this line. So if that's something that you're interested in, you can certainly get the pre-order bundle all set up, and it gives you some theme decks as well as some alternate art copies of Zindane Arcanum Curator, who also I think looks a little worse than the previous Zindane, but still pretty good pile of stuff with a pre-order bonus, and you also get access to these cards right away if you are going to get it into the pre-order. So let's review the other 2 cards, and then we'll talk about like the general stuff that's going on. Okay, first things first, Lethri Marauder. 2 cost 3/1 Overwhelm. Summon, you may discard a card to play a 2/1 Dark Elf, a Blood Hunt, or a Form Bend. So to review each of those cards, Dark Elf is 2 cost 2/1. Blood Hunt is Killer and Scout, which is a decent combination of things, and actually pretty decent if you are not paying the cost of the card. And Form Bend is transform a unit or relic into an elemental with strength and health equal to its cost, which is a way to sort of remove things that are problems, and also a way to turn your own larger relics into useful things, particularly after they've been silenced, or anything else that is like sort of making it hard for them to be particularly beneficial. I think overall, like, none of these cards are particularly strong, and while a 2 cost 3/1 with Overwhelm is pretty strong and a reasonable thing to sort of get aggressive on, the summon ability is something that you actually will kind of have to think about even playing. I think if you give Killer to one of your larger units with it, you're feeling pretty good. If you discard a card to play a Dark Elf in a like sort of aggressive strategy, a 3/1 Overwhelm and a 2/1 charge, or a 2/1 with just blank abilities, is not terrible. So you can actually get some really, really decent aggression here, but obviously if you are discarding the card, then you may run out of gas a little bit faster. You are not playing a hugely efficient card, you are just discarding and making sure that that card is free, which all of these cards for free are not amazing deals, but they are really good if you're trying to get into really, really aggressive strategies. So Marauder really supports aggro archetypes. I don't think she supports a lot of other things, but could be kind of an okay mid-range strategy just due to the fact that the card can create killer effects on bigger units, and thus create some like pretty interesting synergies on that front. But 3/1 and Overwhelm for 2, not a bad stat line, especially not in Primal, where you have just not always the greatest access to good units. I actually think Red is suffering a little bit more for cheap early drops, so this one is like still a pretty good change-up. All right, last one on the list, Star Charts. Okay, so we talk about the first turn kill a lot. This is definitely a big one. It's a powerless power, but it has fate once per game. If you did not go first, create and draw a power burst, meaning that you either get 2 power on your first turn if you draw a Star Charts, or you get something along the lines of like an extra power burst later that you can use for discard strategies. A notable thing is that it works very well with Lethri Marauder. If you are playing a fairly aggressive deck, you can use Star Charts to either pop out the Lethri Marauder on 1, or discard the power burst for a Dark Elf, Blood Hunter, Form Bend, that kind of thing. There's just like a lot of like little simple synergy going on there with discard strategies, card-based strategies, hand-based strategies. However, it's only if you didn't go first. So you have to go second in order to do it. You can't just use the card to achieve a unanswerable first turn kill or anything along those lines. I think this card opens up first turn kill potential a lot more than anything else that previously has existed. I'd still think that the odds of getting a first turn kill in Eternal are fairly low, but this is definitely going into some of our FTK decks. We're going to see if we can get it going with something like 3 Infernus, 2 Gift of Battle, and a Primal Sigil. Keep in mind that you don't need to play the Star Charts to get the Power Burst. It is a fate effect, so if you play a Primal Sigil, you still get the influence along with the Power Burst to play your Lethri Marauders or your insane FTKs. So we'll probably be running on this and seeing if we can get this going this weekend. I still have doubts, but if we're going to achieve like the first FTK, it might be this weekend. So stay tuned for us on Twitch and we'll see if that happens. There's also like, of course, the extra draft ticket and gems if you buy on the store. And there's not too much to review here. We have a preview event coming up with 7 wins and 3 losses. And of course, you get to do Scion draft and draft with some of the new cards from Enter the Arcanum, which is a really, really fun format. This is going to be a lot of fun, but you don't get to keep the cards, and instead you'll win packs from the, I believe, upcoming set. It's possible that it might just be regular cards. Regardless, just the standard sort of usual thing that we've been seeing with the mini sets. This is sort of the same kind of format that Eternal has been releasing in for quite some time. So with the mini sets, there's a lot of decent stuff going on. All right, so that's the first spoilers for Enter the Arcanum. I'm really, really excited about this one. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Talir Headmistress looks absolutely bonkers. I think the 3 cards that have been shown all have some potential for real degeneracy, and we should maybe be a little worried about that. But overall, like, they all look like really fascinating cards that should be relatively well pushed, change the format up quite a bit, and make for a very different experience on the Eternal Ladder. And that is, of course, always a thing that we are looking for, is change and new identities and new gameplay styles and new things coming out. And I think that there's a decent amount of access to that already, and also finally we get to explore the Praxis Arcanum a little bit more. I love this particular faction and am a big fan of finally doing some exploration. I kind of wish that there was a story-based beat on it. It would be really, really nice if we had some sort of single-player campaign. But, I'm not going to complain too much. Arcanum cards seems great. That's it for me. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. We'll be back on stream this weekend, and we will be streaming Eternal. I'm going to be going after that FTK. We might stream some other things as well. I'm currently moved into a new place. The internet has gone... setup has finally gone good. I have a decent place with good soundproofing and a lot of other good stuff going on. We're not fully set up yet, but I am finally settling in and getting back to regular streams. That'll be mostly on the weekends at the moment, so Saturdays and Sundays. And I'm really looking forward to this. Thank you so much for watching, everyone, and we'll see you on Twitch and elsewhere. Bye!